And I have done it basically in every business through some sort of giveaway, and I'll explain what that is. So the first massive increase, when I talked about, was actually through something that we call the 6-week challenge, all right? Which was where we actually just gave away 6 weeks of service and accountability and workouts and nutrition planning and everything to people. Now, no one else in my market could compete against that because they were just giving trials, 14 days, sometimes 21 days, and it was just like workouts or it was just access to the gym. I gave away a full program. Now, I had a way of structuring it so that they would pay, but then they'd get the money back if they did it, and that encouraged people to give it a shot. But it was what took the gym to a completely different stratosphere. And just trying to do traditional marketing just didn't really work that well, or at least I got traditional results, which were mediocre. Now, the next big thing that I did was in Gym Launch, I wrote the Gym Launch Secrets book. And you'll notice this is a common theme for me, is that I write books before I get into any market. And I do that for a couple reasons. One is that when I write a book before I get into a market, the writing process itself is actually a learning process for me. And so it's like, how much can I learn? How much can I consolidate and synthesize information to put it into a really coherent way? Because I think writing is one of the best ways of learning how to think. And so the Gym Launch Secrets book, the reason this was so crazy is that it outlines everything that we did to turn around gyms. And I was so afraid to publish this because I was like, oh my God, it's going to be all my secrets. Everyone's going to have it. But then this is where a lot of the giveaway, the secrets, sell the implementation mindset came from. And so you should never be afraid of the things that you're giving away. And this process of doing these types of giveaways is what generates huge amounts of demand. And so fundamentally, if you're gonna grow a business, you either gotta get way more customers. If we would have 10x, it's like we gotta 10x the customers, we gotta 10x how much they're worth. And I'll get to that later. So I'm gonna put something to rest that you're probably worried about. I was so frightened to launch Gym Launch Secrets, the book, because it was like, this is everything that I learned. I was like, this is like my life's work. In this book, it's 400 pages of how to just run a gym. Like it's like the trainer ads, the salesman ads, the training, the scripts, how to set up your lobby, like the upsell process, the different pricing packages, how to do semi-private, how to do larger, like everything was in there. And I will say this, like at a lot of big decision points in my life, like Layla kind of like put her hand on my shoulder and she's like, if you're afraid that it's too good, it's probably the right thing to give away. And I remember being like, all right, like here goes nothing, like, this could destroy us. But the thing that ended up happening is two things. One is that all my sales team was like, can you give away more books? Anybody who's read the book is like so bought into our method, our way of doing things. Like they immediately, like we don't have to sell them on the Gym Launch way. They're like, I just need your help. I want to do it right. I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to try and like trial and error this thing, which was the goal. But the sales guy saying that, I was like, okay, well, that's super encouraging. And the second thing, I'll tell you later. But this one is one of the most effective ways, and I'll give you a couple more examples. So when I started my software company, Alan, what I did was I gave away, and this is crazy, I gave away basically unlimited coaching and training, like a whole course that most people would charge a gazillion dollars for. I just gave it away for anybody who used my software. And so with Alan, we were able to go from 0 to $1.7 million per month, all right, just using this within 6 months. And so most people were trying to charge agency owners, like show them how to sell customers, how to package their offers, how to run ads. I did all of that for free for anyone who just used my software. And so that was like a crazy offer. That was a crazy giveaway. And that's what generated a ton of demand inbound. For